Now at 6 and streaming on crossroadstoday.com, a multi-agency search in Jackson County comes up empty. The Houston connection to this missing persons case. Victoria County breaks ground on a new facility, the $40 million project details. And weather forecasters work without pay as the shutdown continues, the impact on storm predictions.
We are looking at increased humidity that might lead to a couple of afternoon showers over the weekend. Next week, we've got a cool, cold front coming in. Let's see what it does for us.
And who will be tonight's Athlete of the Week? I'll tell you guys later on In Sport.
You're watching 25 News now at 6. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Don Brubaker. Shauna Curry is on assignment. The search for a missing person in Jackson County is over. Early this morning, the Jackson County Sheriff's Office, alongside the Texas Rangers and the Edna Police Department, continued conducting a search for 2 hours. The operation involved ground teams, canine units, and support from both local and state partners. Yesterday, authorities revealed they were searching in the area of Mexico Street and East Cedar in Edna, where they believed a missing person may have been buried. The search is now over, with officers reporting no findings. The Jackson County Sheriff's Office stated Texas Rangers were assisting Houston police in following up on a lead. The groundbreaking for the Victoria County Mental and Behavioral Health Facility happened this morning. The groundbreaking was at 415 Aviation Drive. The county got a $40 million grant from the state for the facility, with plans to build a 40-bed mental health facility on a 10-acre lot near the Victoria Regional Airport. The county bought the property from the Texas Zoo for $50,000.
Today's groundbreaking is really a huge and long-awaited occurrence here in Victoria County. There's a shortage of mental health beds all across the state, and we're pleased and honored to be able to lead the charge here in Victoria County.
The county will own the facility, and the goal is to open the facility in a few years. A railroad crossing in Bloomington is closing for repairs. Starting tomorrow, the railroad crossing on Highway 185 South will be shut down each night from 7 p.m. to 5 a.m. The work wraps up early Monday morning, October 6th. Crews will be out fixing up the crossing and adding concrete blocks to make it safer and longer lasting. If that's part of your route, plan ahead, take it slow near that area, and maybe find a detour for those nighttime hours. Wharton County is now under a burn ban until further notice. Officials there say the fire risk is everywhere, so please be aware. Authorities say report any fires as soon as possible. Let's go to Mac Pettis with a first look at the forecast. I wonder if more counties around the area are going to put in burn bans because we haven't had much rain lately.
That is a possibility, and even though isolated showers are possible this weekend, it won't be enough to cut down on the burn ban. So let's all be cautious as we get to the weekend. Lots of sunshine, a little bit more humidity, and 1 or 2 little afternoon showers, but I think you're going to like it. Later, we'll be talking about a frontal system that's going to be rolling in next week. All that coming up in a moment. Don?
Mac, thank you. During the ongoing federal government shutdown, more than 230,000 Texans who serve in the military or work for federal agencies could be furloughed or required to work without pay. Some non-essential services may be temporarily disrupted or delayed. The shutdown could impact staffing at Texas airports and the state's 2 national parks, and may slow the processing of grants, passports, and benefits programs. Critical services, including immigration enforcement, military operations, and mail delivery, are expected to continue without interruption. Recent hurricanes swirling in the Atlantic and near the U.S. are a stark reminder that this government shutdown comes in the middle of hurricane season. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration weather forecasters and disaster response specialists at FEMA are planning to keep working during the shutdown. But with those agencies already in weakened states, the shutdown adds another layer of complexity. Ivan Rodriguez has the latest.
Both NOAA and FEMA have shed experienced staff since the start of the Trump administration. At the National Weather Service, which is part of NOAA, managers are working to fill staffing gaps through hiring and moving meteorologists where needed most. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration and the Federal Emergency Management Agency will remain open because they're deemed essential to the protection of lives and property, but employees will still feel the impact.
they're doing the work without pay, without an understanding of when this shutdown is going to end. Will they get that back pay eventually?
Chris Vigaski with WiscoNet says he hopes the shutdown is resolved quickly so it doesn't severely impact the livelihoods of employees. The weather forecasting agency has less than 4,000 employees for the first time in decades. It lost more than 560 people to layoffs, early retirement incentives, and other programs aimed at shrinking the size of the federal government. The agency has enough staff to accurately predict tropical storms and hurricanes, says a NOAA official who spoke to CNN on the condition of anonymity for fear of retribution.
The question, of course, is for how long and what other supporting capabilities, if you will, might be compromised, especially with so many people being furloughed right now.
With some local NWS offices short-staffed, former NOAA Administrator Richard Spinrad worries about weather events happening simultaneously across the country.
What happens if we have another hurricane outbreak and some wildfires in the West, severe drought in the Midwest? All of a sudden, you're stretching that workforce so very thin with regard to providing those services across the country and for all of these different environmental hazards.
The National Weather Service is working to hire new forecasters, but it isn't a fast process, and a prolonged shutdown could slow this down even more. Once hired, it could take months to train new staff, and there won't be enough to make up for all the experienced people the agency lost. In Atlanta, I'm Ivan Rodriguez.
In downtown Houston, multiple people were hurt in an explosion this morning. The blast happened at a hotel that's under construction and not open to the public. Houston Fire Department officials say first reports indicate an issue with a boiler led to the blast. The emergency response included a hazmat team arriving on the scene. Authorities said there were multiple injuries. Nearly a week after a parking lot shooting that killed 2 people and injured 5 others, the Kickapoo Lucky Eagle Casino will reopen to customers. The Eagle Pass Casino announced in a social media post that it plans to reopen its doors at 10 a.m. Friday. The building has been closed since a gunman opened fire outside an entrance late Saturday night. 34-year-old Kerryon Jones of San Antonio is charged in connection with the shooting, which killed a mother of 5, Alicia Sanchez, and former Border Patrol agent Marcus Antley. Texas Department of Public Safety disrupted a human smuggling attempt in Starr County. A DPS drone pilot spotted a group of people, all in the country illegally, near the Rio Grande, being loaded into a van by a human smuggler. DPS brush team officers chased the vehicle, but the driver and several occupants fled on foot. 10 people were detained, including 2 from Uzbekistan and 1 from Slovenia. The driver escaped. All 10 were turned over to Border Patrol. Houston-based ExxonMobil is laying off roughly 2,000 workers globally as part of a long-term restructuring plan. The cuts are a part of the company's ongoing efficiency drive. The reductions will account for roughly 3 to 4% of Exxon's global workforce. About half of the cuts will occur in Europe and the rest will be in Canada. ExxonMobil employed 61,000 people globally as of late 2024. The Victoria County Tax Assessor Collector's Office will close early tomorrow. The office will be open from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m., closing early due to road closures for Tejas Fest. HEB business centers will remain open for anyone needing to buy vehicle registrations. Judge Travis Ernst announced he is seeking re-election as Victoria County Court at Law Number 1. Ernst has served as judge since 2013 when he was first appointed. Before joining the county bench, he operated a private law office for 10 years. He earned his law degree from Texas Southern University and a bachelor's from the University of Texas. The deadline to register to vote in the November 4th election is coming up next Monday, October 6th. Voters across Texas will weigh in on proposed amendments to the state constitution, local and city school board races, as well as bond propositions. You can confirm your voter registration status at votetexas.gov. The site lets you search by voter ID and date of birth, by driver's license number and date of birth, or by entering your name, county, and date of birth. The last day to apply for a ballot by mail is Friday, October 24th. Early voting begins October 20th. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. hit the like button and click the notification bell. Then you can see Crossroads Today on YouTube. And stay with us. Coming up on 25 News Now at 6, the FCC chair faces tough questions on Capitol Hill. Also ahead, the Super Bowl becomes a battleground over immigration policy. How the halftime show performer factors in to the controversy. That's coming up. The FCC chairman, Brendan Carr, will testify before the Senate Commerce Committee. A spokesperson confirmed the upcoming hearing. Carr has faced bipartisan criticism for threats involving Jimmy Kimmel's show and possible regulatory action against ABC and Disney. The panel will be led by Texas Senator Ted Cruz, one of the first Republicans to condemn Carr's moves against Kimmel. President Trump, though, praised Carr, even suggesting broadcast licenses be revoked for coverage he disagrees with. Critics call that a threat to First Amendment rights. A hearing date has not been announced. The White House is escalating its push to reform higher education. The Trump administration sent letters to top universities, including the University of Texas, asking them to agree to new terms in exchange for more federal funds. The 10-point plan calls for banning the use of race or sex in admissions, freezing tuition for 5 years, limiting international students, and requiring standardized tests. Schools that sign on would get significant grant money. Critics say the plan threatens free speech and academic freedom. The White House has not commented. We don't even know which teams will be on the field next year for the Super Bowl, but there's already controversy around the game. One government official saying immigration agents will be conducting enforcement before the game at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara, California. This coming after the NFL announced Grammy winner Bad Bunny will be the halftime performer. ABC's Alex Stone has more from Los Angeles.
When the Super Bowl kicks off in Santa Clara, California in February, ICE will be there conducting immigration enforcement, at least according to Corey Lewandowski, former Trump 2016 campaign manager and current special government employee at the Department of Homeland Security, telling the Benny Johnson podcast.
There is nowhere that you can provide safe haven to people who are in this country illegally, not the Super Bowl and nowhere else.
Federal agents from law enforcement agencies like ICE typically help to secure Super Bowl venues from terror attacks because they are such high-profile events. The Department of Homeland Security has not clarified if immigration enforcement really will unfold at the Super Bowl. Lewandowski's comments come after the NFL announced Puerto Rican superstar Bad Bunny will headline the Super Bowl's halftime show. Bad Bunny, real name Benito Antonio Martinez Ocasio, just closed a record-breaking residency in Puerto Rico ahead of a world tour. Bad Bunny had stopped performing in the U.S. because he said he was worried about ICE raids at his concerts, telling ID Magazine, quote, "There was the issue of, like ICE could be outside my concert, and it's something that we were talking about and very concerned about." After the announcement that he will perform at the halftime show, Bad Bunny sang,
I'm going to enjoy. I'm going to embrace the moment. I'm going to show what we have, our music, our culture. So
No worries.
I don't think about even on that. I'm just going to stage to enjoy and have fun.
There has been outrage from conservative commentators about the NFL choosing Bad Bunny for the halftime show. One note on Bad Bunny himself. He was born in Puerto Rico, which makes him a U.S. citizen. Many of his fans are also Puerto Rican and U.S. citizens as well. Alex Stone, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Tesla deliveries hit a record in the summer quarter as buyers rushed to take advantage of the federal tax credit for electric vehicles before it expired. The company delivered nearly 497,000 EVs during the period, exceeding expectations. But in Europe and the UK, industry figures show sales were down more than 22%. Mac, did you hear that Elon Musk for a little bit was a half a trillionaire?
That's what I heard. I can't fathom that, but he's on his way up there, isn't he? Europe is not buying his cars, but it looks like Americans are doing it, so we'll see how that evolves. It's 90 degrees out there. It doesn't feel like October, does it? But hope springs alive. We'll be talking more about some changes in the 7-day. 92 was our high. That compares to 88, which is our average high. What about the weekend? Because we've got Tejas Fest to deal with, and we'll talk about that coming up. Well, we've got lots of sunshine as we head on into the weekend, but you might have noticed today that we picked up a lot more clouds, right? That is a sure sign that the Gulf air is rolling back in. As you can see, we picked up a little bit more of a southeast wind, and the winds have been amazingly light. And generally at the beginning of the week, it was out of the northeast. Well, now that Gulf air sort of creeping back in, and that's going to give us a chance of a little 1 or 2 isolated afternoon showers. Now, these are sea breeze showers, so remember, they're not at the coast. The Gulf air rolls in, and when it gets inland, it heats up and pops up into 1 or 2 little showers. I don't think it's going to really bother you over the weekend, and have no fears getting down there to Tejas Fest downtown. Now, out on the Pacific Northwest, very large Pacific storm coming in. This is a good one because it begins the snow and rain season for the Northern Rockies, and hopefully for the Rockies as well. The tail end of that will actually drag through Texas in about 5 to 6 days, but it's going to be a mere shadow of its former self. It's really not going to amount to much. Now here, the remnants of Humberto and the remnants of Imelda right here, and they're sort of been sheared apart, so they're falling apart. They're moving away. They didn't really merge like one of the computer models had led me to believe, but it's all gone away, and that's okay. Bye-bye. Now, we still have some tropical storm season left. Computer models are picking up potential here and also potential right here. So we'll certainly be watching to see if that one evolves. On the West Coast, we have one more system that will be a strong storm, and it is expected to turn to the right and come into Mazatlan. They're going to have to be watching that real carefully. And then the remnants go into the desert Southwest, where Arizona and New Mexico are going to get some heavy rain. We may get some of it in far west Texas, or something that, we'll be watching in the next few days. Some good news here. The air quality alerts are over for Victoria County. Yesterday, we were included in this air quality alert, which was an ozone action day, but apparently the winds have picked up enough and the atmosphere is stirring around, and with those possible showers, that we don't have to worry about that anymore. Now, on the October 7th is the full moon. between now, the 2nd, and then we're going to be running some pretty high tides. So those of you that live along the beaches, along the water, down there in Sargent, down there in Matagorda, Palacios, just consider that the tides are going to be normally, or rather higher than normal. And you may think that, you know, I can park the car here and pick it up in the morning. It may be in the water, so you're going to have to just watch for that as the full moon starts rolling in later this week. Looking at a 69 for tomorrow. You know, 62 is better than 69, but at least, you know, it'll be clear skies early in the morning. And with the abundant sunshine, we're getting up to 91. You'll see a lot more cloud cover tomorrow, and then we'll start building those little showers that'll be isolated for the afternoon. Taking a look at the big picture, and I want you to see that here we have Gulf moisture rolling in, and then we have that deep storm over there. Until that deep low rolls into the plains and moves away this high pressure, we're not in any kind of luck for any cold weather. So sunny skies looking good in Port Lavaca, 91. Cuero, you're getting up to 92. You're much better chance of getting that afternoon activity over the weekend. I don't think it's going to bother anybody. Tail end of that front that's out west actually drifts through here sometime next week. That's your 7-day forecast, reminding everybody we do have a QR code. Love for you to scan that. Put Crossroads Today on the phone. Don, back to you.
Thank you, Max. Max Williams is here with sports. This is great weather for soccer today, Max.
That's right there, Don. Again, Texas A&M Victoria women's and men's soccer teams, they traveled all the way out to face Jarvis Christian today. I'll give you the scores for both of those games coming up next in sports. For tonight's Athlete of the Week, we're taking a break from the football field and handing a Victoria West swimmer in Glory Palmer. Here's more for our Athlete of the Week. For this week's Athlete of the Week, we're taking a dive into the pool and giving Victoria West girls swimmer Gloria Palmer. This past Tuesday night, Palmer won the 100-yard backstroke and the 200-yard freestyle, and also competed in the 200-yard medley relay and the 200-yard freestyle relay. She highlights how she feels about her relay team and how herself can keep breaking records and reach state this year.
We have all 5 girls, so I think we have a really shot to go to state again in our relay, and I'm really looking forward to trying to break some of the school records. I was really close to breaking the 100 fly one last year, and I didn't get around to it by regionals, so this year I'm hoping to go out early in the season and be able to break the records.
Now, Palmer believes teammates Riley Anders, Haley Ure, and Emma Florida will be factors this season, but highlights how still competitive she and her team still gets in the pool.
I'm a very competitive person in general, so I like going to practice every day and just pushing each other. It's nice because in the pool, we're all trying to better each other and race against each other.
Having that competitive nature that Palmer highlights, swimming is still known to be an individual sport and very nerve-wracking, but Palmer had a solution for this during her team's practices.
At practice, really getting everyone involved and just being together, so that way when we go into the meets, we're able to do it as one instead of just a bunch of different people.
With Palmer becoming a leader for the Victoria West girls swim team, she highlights one lesson she's learned: out in the pool.
Is that, it doesn't have to be like perfect and everyone swims their event their own way. And I just have to encourage everyone to go swim their own race and to go like race other people.
Palmer's leadership and prowess in the pool looks to continue for future weeks to come. Can't wait to see more of Victoria West girls swim team, and congrats to Gloria Palmer for being this week's Athlete of the Week.
All right, let's check out this week's weekly fishing report, where it's, again, like Max kind of been mentioned before, it's going to be sunny and warm here for this weekend, and Coleto Creek still going to be a little bit slow, though, from the past couple of weeks. The water is stained at 91 degrees, and bass fishing is slow around Coleto Creek area, so keep that in mind if you're heading out there this weekend. For Port O'Connor, is good at 85 degrees for speckled trout. Are biting on the free live croaker right now outside of the jetties area around Port O'Connor, and then finally around East Matagorda Bay. The waters are fair at 85 degrees, where wade fishing was fair with those northeast winds, but when the southeast winds kind of kicked in and kind of slowed down. So keep in mind how the winds are kind of factoring in if you want to go wade fishing this weekend around East Matagorda Bay there for that. Now over to some soccer, where Texas and Victoria women's soccer team traveled out to face Jarvis Christian today, and they won big, win 6-2, and they improved now to 5-2-2 overall and 3-1, pardon me, now in conference play. And the top goal scorer, Elani Garcia, had 2 goals to secure the victory for the women's team. Now the men's team, could they follow suit? Well, it looks like they had a tie at 1-1 apiece versus Jarvis Christian in this contest. So both teams would split goals there in the first and second halves, and they would finish to a 1-1 draw. And both the teams are going to be back on the road versus Texas A&M Texarkana this Saturday, with the women starting at 1 p.m. and the men starting at 3:30 p.m. And that's going to do it here in sports. Don, back to you.
Max, thank you, and we're back in a moment. Astronomers make a discovery that really defies explanation. Well, finally tonight, there's a free floating planet that's been packing on the pounds. Don't worry, it's about 620 light years away from Earth. A study published in the Astrophysical Journal Letters shows the rogue planet has a mass at least 5 times that of Jupiter.
Ooh, that's a biggie.
Wow. And it's getting bigger by the second.
Wow.
Astronomers say the growth spurt shown by this planet is highly unusual and star-like. It's estimated to be between 1 and 2 million years old, which is by astronomical standards.
Very young.
Yes, pretty young.
Yeah.
Pretty young and pretty big and pretty far out.
Yeah.
It looks very interesting.
John Denver would say far
out. Yeah.
Well, you know, when you said 5 to 7 times of Jupiter, Jupiter's ginormous.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's bigger than that. It's half as big as our solar system.
Oh.
But it's 620 light years away. The light years. I'm going to travel for a light year, okay? I'll be right back. No, I'm just kidding. That's a very long distance.
See, if he was traveling for a light year, he'd be packing light.
That's right.
Packing light years.
Packing light, because you've got a long way to travel.
There may be people who are packing to want to stay a few hours this Friday, Saturday at Tejas Fest.
Absolutely.
I will be there with my lovely wife Cecilia from 2 to 3 on Saturday afternoon, so check out our booth. And I know you're going to be out. Well,
I'll be around.
You'll be around.
See,
I'll be there checking it out.
See, I'm just disappointed. You know, they're having a margarita contest, and they didn't ask me to be a judge.
Well, is there still time on that?
I'm brokenhearted on this thing.
Is there time to make a late edition?
I would think they got my phone number. But for those of you going down Friday and Saturday, it's still looking really good. Now, we do have that 20% chance of isolated afternoon showers, but they'll be very light, and there'll be sea breeze activity that will decrease as soon as the sun goes down. So I don't think it's going to be a major factor for that. And of course, they have the Chihuahua races on Saturday morning. Don't want to miss that. So you got to get up there early for sure.
Yeah, you have to do those races kind of early in the morning because then the pavement gets too hot
For the
for the
puppies.
dogs and their paws.
Yeah.
And if you're still interested in wanting Mac to judge, call his number 1-800-MARGARITA, I believe
That's right.
is the number. Is that right?
1-800.
just for judging, okay? Just for judging.
I'm just there to help. You know, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
If anybody knows how they taste, it's me.
Well, that
Okay.
said the judge himself. Thank you, Mac, and thanks for joining us. We'll see you tonight for 25 News Now at 10. Have a good one.